Hello, everybody, and welcome to the monthly podcast for St. Pete Timebank. My name is BJ Andryusky, founder of St. Pete Timebank, and tonight I am so excited to have Catalina. Oh, I didn't get your last name. Say your last name.
Tiamson.
Catalina Tiamson from the Everyday Hero Project with us tonight. And if you didn't read her bio, go read it. It is fabulous. She is just a powerhouse of a woman. I met Catalina, how many years ago, Catalina?
It was 2015, right?
No way. In 2015. But tonight is not about me. It's about Catalina. And I want to introduce you and just tell you to go for it. What is it that you have in your heart to share with time bankers and other people all over the world about what you are doing right now? Because I know a little bit of it and I am like, whoa, girl.
Actually, you know what? When you say, can you take a minute to share what you're doing? So, for those of you whose attention span might not be as long as the end of this podcast, then I would love to just give this message in the beginning. And because all of you are time bankers who are part of this system, just how imperative and crucial it is that we continue to nurture and grow this movement, because as everything around us continues to transform and reshape, as our futures become less certain than we imagined they would be, time making is something that is already a system in place that brings us all together, both with our hearts and all of the things that we need to thrive in humanity. So, really, whatever you're doing, just continue to do it, right? Because we can't give up on this idea that time banking and as a currency, and we as practitioners and holders and facilitators of this, it's going to be one of the main currencies of the globe.
I really do feel like we're on the precipice of going viral. It's something that I feel within my soul, and I know that you've felt that way for quite some while. And whoops, got chicken skin. Tell people what chicken skin is. It's something that you and I share. Tell people what it means to you.
So I'm over here in Hawaii, and part of my journey over the years was coming over here, and I had the honor of studying the practice of Lomi Lomi under Kumu Le Aloha Carol. And part of what we are taught in Hawaiian spirituality is that our bodies are conductors of truth. And some of your heart space, your mind space, all of that can play tricks on you. But one thing that the spirit can use to directly communicate with you in an instant, which is irrefutable, is your body, right?
Yes.
So if there's something that's happening, so chicken skin is how we describe goosebumps here on the islands. And I have a saying, follow the chicken skin, right? So like when you get goosebumps, that's truth trying to reveal itself to you, that you can use that as a tool. And so for me, I don't get chicken skin as often as other people do, but for me, that's why the saying is follow the chicken skin, because I noticed that when I say things to other people or projects that I'm talking about, other people will get chicken skin. And so I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path. I love that PJ always has chicken skin, because she's definitely the
we
right
talk and I get chicken skin. And I don't say goosebumps anymore. I say chicken skin. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. So tell people how we met, you and I, just a bit.
Oh my gosh. So I was walking around with my baby, and I had finished so I was on a 4-year-long tour around the world learning about nonprofits. And one of the things that I was actually passionate about was time exchange. But I hadn't found this formal idea of it, like somebody who had actually like created it into manifestation where people were using it. Until I ran into BJ. So it's 2015. I'm walking around with my baby. I had landed after 4 years of traveling in Florida, and it was an Awakening in the Sun event in South Straub Park. And I see BJ there at this table at the talking about Tampa Time Bank. And I remember walking up to you. I feel like, well, did I have like tears streaming down my face?
Probably.
I was really like, What?
Ah.
And so then, so then I really believed in it, and I was able to attend a potluck gathering for the Tampa Timebank in downtown St. Pete. And it was the year after that that BJ approached me to talk about the St. Pete Timebank. And so that was 2016.
And you became our fiscal sponsor, our first fiscal sponsor as a Timebank, because we were not a 501c3 and we needed somebody to act as one. So we made that relationship with Everyday Hero Project. So what in the world is the Everyday Hero Project? Tell people if they don't know.
Wow, it's big. So our mission statement is that we help emerging communities to receive resources, education, and skills, and the things that they need to make their projects and their communities grow and become better. So we're lucky enough to be able to be able to be on the other side of the residents, sitting as a desk where they're telling us what their dreams are, and we resonate so much with each other when our dreams are for humanity, right? Like I don't think I've ever had someone sit in front of me and tell me about their passion project for humanity, and I was like, nah, like always so beautiful. So so we've ended up doing projects all over the world. It actually originated in the Hawaiian classrooms when I was helping university students and businesses around. Oh, I hear a baby in the background that woke up. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to run and grab her for a second.
Okay, well then I'm gonna talk more about what happened when we met.
Okay.
This is fun. So when I asked Catalina to be the fiscal agent for the St. Pete Timebank, she was just like she is right now. She was so thrilled to see the vision that I had for St. Petersburg and wanted to support that vision. And even though the organization at that time, her organization was small, she was always full of enthusiasm and passion and gratitude for everything that we were doing, and it has always been such a sweet part of what happened with St. Pete Timebank. We did eventually get another fiscal agent, and we are currently fiscal agent supported by the Pinellas County Urban League. But the history that we have with Catalina and the Everyday Hero Exchange, the Everyday Hero Project, has been totally phenomenal. When she lived here in the US and went to Hawaii, I was so disappointed because I didn't think that I was going to be able to see her again. And for those of you just joining on, I'm watching the live viewers coming on. I really do have Catalina on the live broadcast, but she just had a baby wake up. So she's taking care of that real quickly. So stick with us. Don't go away, because in just a moment she'll be back. But she did have to step away to take care of her child. So for those of you who don't know, tonight we're talking with Catalina Tiamson of the Everyday Hero Exchange. Here she is. I was promising these people that were on, I can see who's on live, and I'm like, really? She's here. She's here. I promise she's here.
Yeah, right. The life that we all lead. So
Oh yeah.
I have 3 kids.
Mama, being a mama comes first, girl. Being a mama comes first. So where were we? We were talking about fiscal agent.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, you were continuing the story about 2016.
I did. I did when you were gone.
Oh, okay.
No, then we started Timebank in 2016 as a hyperlocal Timebank to St. Petersburg, and now we do have some members that are farther away than just St. Pete, but like Catalina in Hawaii, she's still a member of St. Pete Timebank, but you are doing some phenomenal things over there, right?
Oh, wasn't that so funny how we ended up connecting through Hula Exchange?
Really, it's just incredible. It's incredible. Tell the people, what's Hula Exchange? What is that?
Oh, okay. So, Cocoa Exchange is actually the Timebank over here
In Hawaii.
in
Time
Hawaii.
bank, you time bank in Hawaii. It's
And
everywhere.
it was really funny how it ended up transitioning, right? Because actually, when I left Hawaii in 2020, I thought to myself, "Wow, I really miss the time bank." That really became such a huge part of my life.
When you left Hawaii, when you left Florida.
Or yeah, when I left Florida.
Okay. Confusing me.
When I left Florida. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so I thought, wow, I'm really gonna miss it, but I don't, Everyday Hero Project really is largely based on the projects that residents are going to bring forth in the community, right? So I
Right.
had really no idea what kind of resident-based projects were going to manifest here in East Hawaii. I came here with an open heart saying, okay, Pele, you called me home. I've learned so much and just tell me what you want me to do, right? So now, did they call you, BJ, or was this an email from the Cocoa Exchange people when they connected to you?
I don't remember. Sorry.
Yeah, so it was
I
really
honestly,
good.
I
Yeah.
think I honestly don't remember if it was a phone call or if it was an email. But I remember saying when we connected, I remember saying Catalina just went to Hawaii. You've got to get in touch with her. She was our first fiscal agent, and she is a powerhouse of a woman. And you've got to get connected to Catalina. How long were they in existence before you got there?
I I I feel like they had tried to do it and it had stayed like pretty low key.
Okay.
Um, Especially because there was no community time banks and it's a statewide system, right?
Mm.
So let's tell the audience like kind of what happened. I Believe it or not, other people from Hawaii reconnected me. I mean, I've always been connected to BJ, but reconnected me to VJ through the time bank, not knowing that VJ would know me while I was here, right? This was just like a complete surprise. And I believe that the reason, so what happened was Cocoa Exchange has been here for a while in Hawaii, but they have kind of had a difficult time getting it had a difficult time getting it off the ground because what it was people that really believed in it. So Kanu Hawaii, which is the nonprofit that has done the work to get the software and get this off the ground, it hadn't been seen in real life, right? The proof of concept was like in their minds and they really wanted to move this forward. Hawaii is such a place where this beautiful exchange of love and less barriers than anywhere else that I've lived in the United States exists. And so when people, hear about the system or heard about the system, it's something that made a lot of sense to people and brought like the technology of the century into the old school indigenous ways of trade here. And so they got connected to BJ because Cocoa Exchange Hawaii reached out to the international time bank leaders and said, "Can you connect us with a time bank that's been successful that can give us some advice on how to kind of launch?" And so St. Pete Time Bank is superstars, BJ. You know that, right?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that part.
Apparently, St. Pete Time Bank, we know we're all superstars, but is also, has a global reputation as a superstar time bank in this world, and so they connected her with BJ, and BJ calls me and says, "You're not going to believe this. The time bank in Hawaii called me to talk to me." And I said, "What?" She said, "What, right? What'd you say?" Was it like, "What? Catalina's over there," right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So I ended up connecting with them, and through them, we now have 14 community time banks. We launched Lanai Island.
14. Were those going before you got there, or that's been
No, there
since
was no community time bank. So this was part of
oh,
the issue. It was a statewide system over 4 different islands that had no
mm,
localization. So we're talking about people that were excited about the time bank system and would log on and get excited about an exchange and find out, oh, this person's on another island. And so people were starting to residents were becoming a little bit discouraged because then it takes a lot of like wading through all of these things to find out where
right,
people are unless they're associated to a community time bank. And I love that
right.
there's this feature here So we launched a Lanai Island. Actually, the first live activation, I'm so excited to announce this, will be on Maui Island on February 11th at the brand new Hawaii Wildlife Discovery Center in the middle of Lahaina at the Fisherman's Wharf Lahaina. It's a beautiful facility and free parking. So you get validated and that's like an $18 value there, right?
Wow.
It's brand new. It's beautiful. And so they've opened up the community room for there to be a live activation on Maui. So we are launching Maui on February 11th. I'm so excited, BJ.
And if you're in Maui and you want to be involved with time banking in Maui, please go to the kokuexchange.timebanks.org. It's down on the screen, and then you can get connected with the announcements that they send out and know exactly where everything is and when it's going to happen. Please, please be involved with them. It's excellent.
It's so exciting to see the explosion of leadership. So what's amazing is thank you to Kanu Hawaii and AARP, there was some funding that they were able to have me continuously, I still do these every month, host a live activations for organizations and for residents. And one of the people that joined was from Lanai, Danielle Erickson, and she just joined, just wanted to check it out as a resident. She has a group called the Plastic Pickers of Paradise, and they pick up of Lanai, and the residents there have said, like, literally this whole island is, the beaches are clean because of these guys, right? So they've been hosting these incredible things. So she came to one of the live activations and then decided, hey, I love this, became a time bank coordinator and helped us launch Lanai. So we got to go there in person and did a time bank blitz. We did 4 different events in one day. And because she's so inspired by what she's seen and how we've launched those things, she's the one who's actually hosting the live activation in Maui.
Wow. That's incredible.
So like, I feel like the leaders in Hawaii like sprout like our food and like
microgreens. They're popping up. They're popping up. Cool. I see behind you Time Bank core values. Talk about those a little bit and what that means to you.
Wow. You know, we hosted a kapuna, which is an elder activation, a couple weeks ago, and I actually left these up on purpose because I don't feel like they're only just time banking core values.
True.
I actually feel like these are life core values, and I love having this as a reminder to me as a person who runs Everyday Hero Project, and I interact with so many different community leaders, from like children who want to lead something. So for example, like my daughter is now leading a weekly homework afternoon every Thursday in the Everyday Hero Project office. You know, and then all the way up to today, I had a meeting.
You just got hearts on Facebook. People are like loving it. Oh, that's beautiful.
It's so cute. And just to be able to like help her be proud of something like that, right? Yes. Like helping her set up the tea and like getting the word out. And, you know, she's like, yeah, she's amazing. So, you know, all these levels. Today I just had a meeting with Zero Waste Hawaii Big Island, and she's helping to push through and write legislation. So like the levels of leaders that I work with are so varied that this is such a good reminder for me that everybody has their own definitions of this. But if we can, you know, continue to exchange and, you know, interact according to these values for ourselves, to ourselves, and the time that we spend on what we're doing, to the people that we're working with, and also to the world, right?
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. And these were originally written by Edgar Kahn, who has recently passed away, and put in his books about the core values of what we believe in, that everybody really is an asset just the way they are right now. Doesn't matter if you're disabled, if you're not able to get a job, if you're in school, out of school, it doesn't matter. Everybody has something to give. You know, and we look at work a little bit differently than some people because we value things that cash doesn't value. Cash in the market economy does not value kindness. right? It doesn't value neighborly favors. And then we talk about reciprocity, giving and taking, both doing both receiving and giving, and this social network, and which is part of why I'm so excited to have you on tonight to talk about what is going on with this vision that you have of this network that I believe you started talking about when you were teaching in Hawaii. Did you not? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So this was actually a vision that came in 2009. I was so serious about it that I tattooed the logo Island Utopia here on my shoulder.
Island Utopia.
Island Utopia. So Island Utopia was actually the name of our classroom. So
Okay.
my little seventh graders and I identified them as the everyday heroes of Island Utopia. But what is the definition of Island Utopia? Utopia is actually a person balanced in mind, body, and spirit, connected to nature. And an island utopia is where two or more of those people are gathered together.
Wow.
Right. So like right now, me and you are making our own island utopia. And why?
Island Utopia.
It's between the two of us that we create the reciprocity rules, the respect, right? And it is our island if we protect it. This culture that me and you create together, and then the more people that are in that culture, right? So the vision that was downloaded so long ago was a foster facility with elders and university students who are studying agriculture and social work and education. And so I went on a whole journey because of that particular vision. The following year, I ended up on a music tour going around the country. I was in a gigantic tour bus, and I was able to use that platform to talk about Island Utopia and the ideas of us all like wanting to be in a place and have a place of safety to go to. So that's why I ended up traveling for those 4 years, because I realized, okay, well, I've been a school teacher and now I'm like, this is crazy. I'm a rock star. I mean, that was crazy, right? I'm like, Bruno Mars' father was my manager for a while. Yeah, I got to sing at the House of Blues in New Orleans.
And that's so much a part of your history and who you are that the people in St. Pete Timebank didn't even know. You know,
no, right?
You were kind of quiet about that part, you know. But yeah, you were on a musical tour.
I was. I came out with 4 albums. And through those 4 albums, I was able to have a fundraising tour. I helped to start a life center in Haiti and helped to fund the foundation of their buildings. They've got 3 toilets and a septic tank, 2 additional buildings. I mean, I even like delivered a baby in a mud hut by candlelight. Like, wow. So, it's like being on stage afforded me the opportunity to, Governor Gary Herbert attended our kickoff event. And through the music, I was able to, help to start everyday hero squads around the country and talk to these students and these people about how to, come together with people and use the time that you have instead of watching TV or doing this to make a huge change in the world, right? So then I was in St. Pete for 7 years. It was a 7-year cycle. And St. Pete, I got to say, guys, mainland America, I'm not kidding. Mainland America, St. Pete is the best city in the whole country. But I feel like I shouldn't say that too loud.
There's a lot of good places. You found a lot of really, really good stuff in St. Petersburg.
Yeah. Yes, because, the willingness of people to work together. The Timebank is just like, I felt like the Timebank was like lifeblood, right, for people. So the story of Island Utopia didn't really start to have a resolution until we moved here, because until then, between 2009 or 2005, when I started working with the students, 2009 is when the vision came. 2010 is when I went on tour. 2014 is when I landed in St. Pete. And so it was like all of this knowledge building. How do you be humble enough to come in and listen to what it is that people want to do? How do you be enough of a powerhouse and an advocate for all of these people to make these projects manifest and help them grow all over the world? I spent like 12 years to get to where we are now on this property. And so it just really, I was talking to BJ recently and I told her, BJ, I think I'm ready to advocate for Island Utopia, because most people don't know that all of these pilot programs I've been doing with Everyday Hero Project and all these partnerships have been so that I can learn how to run these programs for when we finally did get the space, that I couldn't wait around for this space to appear to make the change that I wanted to see in the world. And that when I would finally get that place, whenever that was going to be, people could look at all of the things that we've done together and say, okay, yeah, I think we trust this girl. She's been at it for a really long time and connected thousands of people and made a lot of projects happen with everybody, right?
I know. And when you told me about the vision of the community and how the different parts were going to work together, it was just like, wow, incredible stuff.
And the momentum really has kind of like accidentally, I shouldn't say accidentally, but because it's a project that I believe needs to happen. And this is why it's so accelerated, why things are happening quickly. So originally the vision, was really big. And I'm not saying that large vision won't happen one day, but it's really pared down now to like housing and listening. When I was in 2009, right, I saw the whole vision, but I wasn't as diplomatic and I wasn't as humble back then. Really, I wasn't. Like, my ability to listen has grown over the years. So back then I had like Island Utopia was all mapped out, all the different parts, the school, the library, the mechanic facility, the farm. And now that I'm finally here, I realize that it's up to me to set the stage, build beautiful housing for them, set up the programs for what it is they want to do. And then Island Utopia is actually going to emerge as its own personality. So recently I actually got connected accidentally with the head of foster programming for the whole entire state.
Not accidentally.
It
was by design. It was by design.
Child care licensing, and they gave me the wrong number to foster, and then I just got patched all the way up. Like, wait, what? Well, I guess I should talk to you about this now. But
so how does foster care fit into it? How does foster care fit into it?
Well, originally the idea was for long-term fosters and elders to have like a loving relationship. So this is like a sustainable situation. Even the building design has come forward. But until I talked to the head of foster programming, I did not know that there is a crisis for emergency foster housing. Well, pretty much around the world, but definitely in the state of Hawaii, there are 0 emergency shelters in the entire state that can house large groups of siblings. So imagine as a child who gets taken away from your family because something happened. So this is your emergency foster situation. On top of the trauma that you experienced, whatever that was, then you get ripped apart from your siblings too, because people just don't have 4 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms extra laying around for foster children. So after speaking with Kintaro, I realized, we need to create an additional ring around the common area, which is the emergency foster homes, which even changed the path of it. Now I realized, so really what needs to happen is the elders in affordable housing are going to be placed, and then the emergency fosters will come. And then from there, maybe the elders together decide, hey, we're ready to long-term foster one of these kids that came through the shelter, right? So then it's kind of, that's organic too. And so they're just responsible with us for creating a haven for these kids who've been ripped away from their families and don't know what the future holds.
And I can tell you as an adult, and this is probably something that you did not know about me, is that happened to our family when I was young. Yes. Does that not give us more together in our spirits? Yep. My brother and my sister and I all had to go to different foster cares because nobody would take 3. Nobody would take 3. So that really touches me. It really touches me.
So you
So
can imagine then what it would have been like to come into a community with like 5 grandparents there to make cookies for you and hold you, right? Like, there's nothing like a grandma's big boobed hug, right? Like, like, can I just be here for the rest of my
I
life?
want to be that grandma to those children. I do. I want to be that grandma to those children.
Well, then the exciting thing, and this all ties back to time thinking, is this is going to be rent-free housing. So
Cash-free housing. They're doing rent for time credits, correct?
I don't know if I don't think I'm going to call it rent, right? Like, I don't know what you call it.
Yeah,
but
exchanging for rent,
right. So, that's been a big looming issue that many sustainable communities have had around the world. The reciprocity that happens within the community itself, unless there's like a really great structure set up, that's sometimes where kind of these things fall through the cracks. And so finding time banking helped me to realize there is a way to marry those two and to have that be the currency inside of that. It's really interesting because Kekua even forced the hand. I wouldn't say forced the hand, but this isn't Hawaii agricultural lot. So actually, it's not allowed to charge rent. Like it is set up for work exchange.
Right.
That is the way that people, like, we're not allowed to charge people for rent. And so it kind of was like, oh, time banking is the solution to making sure this whole thing happens together.
It's just such a natural piece of this puzzle that's being put together.
And the exciting thing is, okay, well, actually, we should show them the land before I go on to this next spot.
Okay,
let me
see
a little bit about a tiny home community that's actually already putting this in practice and has the rent.
Do you want me to share, or are you okay? So I'm going to share, and forgive me, folks. This is the first time that I have done this, so we're hoping that it comes out okay. And
so what I'm going to do is show you guys this facility that we have, because every one of our Kokua Exchange partners, organizations, as well as residents, as well as community, has access to this space.
So this is the Everyday Hero Project office to meet. Okay. Yeah. Super. Wow, look at all that green out there.
I know. And actually had my mosquito netting done.
What's that?
I actually had that mosquito netting done in front of the farm door.
Nice. All right, do you want me to go to the next video?
Yeah, sure. Done by a Timebank member.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's Catalina.
Hello.
What are we looking at here?
So this is one of the greenhouses. Eventually, when we have the property, it's going to become the exchange hub for nursery plants and native Hawaiian plants for the rest of the community to come and use. And this is the front of the Everyday Hero Project office, which is a pond and a small sprouts greenhouse. And we're working on creating like a seating area out there as well.
Nice. Going to the next video.
And this is actually the makerspace and processing facility for our residents and people to use. This is 150 feet long. It's surrounded by mosquito nets on both sides. It has a beautiful outdoor bathroom. And this is the concrete space where you can host stuff on tables and things like that. So that's been made available too. And people have been using that as
and another panoramic view of the property. Absolutely gorgeous.
So
you just took it in the rain.
Yeah, I just took it. See that long span of trees behind this whole video?
Yes.
That's actually the 2 acres of land where the housing is going to be built.
Okay. And is that the last video?
Yes.
Okay, super.
Oh, I think I took one more video that had like the chicken coops and the papaya.
Okay, sorry, I don't know that I got that, but
no worries.
Super. We have Lori Marino saying, good to see you in the chat here, and somebody else saying, I can't tell who they are because they haven't given the name to StreamYard, but they say you have so much going on.
We are really so last year, because of COVID and everything, we actually ended up hosting a community Halloween event. We had a pumpkin patch and we had trick-or-treating here. So we had 100 people in the community show up here.
Oh my.
So it's really starting to crank. We've had over 1,000 people on this property over the past year.
1,000 people. That's like a lot of people.
Coming through, at some points, like we've got sometimes we have 3 events happening a week. So
you were talking about this property that already has some of this going on. I'm personally vested in that, but do you want to say a little bit about it?
Yes. And so it's really amazing because as I continue through this journey, I'm being given examples just a little bit ahead. This is the next step, right?
Wow.
So now you've seen all the facility here. This is what we're using, to build all our programming here in East Hawaii. We're going to be hosting a summer camp this summer with kids from all over, and we're really excited about that. And, but, the vision eventually in a couple of years, we'll be able to start building in 2 years from now, is that, it's going to be running on time credits and, we're going to be working on things and stuff. Well, because of one of my very good friends, Tamara Durham. She moved from Oregon. She came here and her husband have 6 acres of land. And believe it or not, they have also adopted numerous kids and had foster children along the way. They actually have this all in practice now. So it's not necessarily Island Utopia with emergency foster facility. Actually, right now, she was telling me it's looking like a little kind of a haven for single mothers. And so they've got tiny homes on the property and they're planting food every day. And they're actually running it on time credits. So some of the people that have moved, they've built 5 houses over the past year and a half, 5 tiny houses. And the people that are there get the option of paying in a combination or all of one of cash or time credits.
Yes.
Which I think is so amazing.
It really is. It really is. Of course, I did it in St. Petersburg. I did it for, I think, 6 years. I had somebody renting for time credits.
What? So, I didn't know that.
Oh, girl, come on. By the way, so Allison, hello, Allison. She said this is so impressive. Allison is a long time friend of mine. Oh, yeah, but no, I rented for time credits. I had somebody with a tiny home in my backyard, and they rented. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They put it into place so much that her children are using time credits to eat meals. So the reciprocity, people learning how to, so her children are looking for ways to earn time credits, right? They're looking for being able to go out into the community and help others and within its own timing. So I'm going to actually be talking to Keone about creating her area as its own community time bank. I'm excited about it. This is wow, I get to help her grow this. We're going to be going over there. Chiaka and I, after I came back from visiting her property yesterday, it was totally incredible.
Yeah.
Right? 130 chickens. They have 5 tiny homes on there. They're building.
Can I share what I'm excited about this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So of course, Catalina and I go back quite a ways, and she goes to Hawaii, and I'm like, I want to come visit you in Hawaii. And she's like, she showed me some of the vision of what she had for the property, and whether or not that turns out exactly that way, or it's just in chunks or whatever, but she's like, oh, come BJ. She said, I can host you for maybe a week, and I said, I'd love to stay longer. And she told me that she could connect me to somebody who's already doing this. So for those of you who don't know, everybody who knows me should know that Jim and I are traveling around the United States in our little tiny trailer, 16-foot travel trailer. And come October, I will be celebrating my birthday with Catalina in Hawaii. And we get to stay with them for a little while. And then Jim and I are so blessed to be able to be a part of this and work at that farm that Catalina was just talking about. And we're going to stay until May. We're staying the winter there, and we get to be a part of this whole thing. She videoed the property for me, and we got to meet the owner and talk with them. And my father used to have, might be a dirty word, but used to have a timeshare in Hawaii. And it was something that I had always looked to do because he said when he passed, he would give the timeshare to us. Well, the bills didn't get paid, and the timeshare is no longer a part of anything. And so this is like even so much richer because I get to do what I've been talking about with time banking since 2014 when I was a member of when I joined time banking at Tampa Bay Time Bank and then later started, our own in St. Pete. I get to do this in Hawaii with this beautiful soul, Catalina, who is my chicken skin sister. Oh, and it brings tears to my eyes. I can't believe it's like a dream come true that I wasn't even really aware of that it was capable of happening.
Oh my gosh, and your tiny home is so cute, right? It's like this green house with like top of the line filtering. I'm like so excited. And for what a dream come true for Time Bank growing because Tamara really, she's a Time Bank. She just came on as a Time Bank coordinator not too long ago. And so for her to be on the property with you, I'm like,
oh, and we get to help spread time banks around Hawaii. Yeah. It's beautiful. I just can't believe it. Who would have thought from, running into you at the Awakening in the Sun, when we were at the table talking about Tampa Bay Time Bank, to the Women's March when we were talking about time banking, just incredible stuff.
And what's cool is that you're actually surrounded by 2 time bank hubs there. So Chiaka and I and Tamara and some of us have been starting to talk about this idea of like whether or not there's like this crate collapse, yes or no. Amazing to have like a resident booted and verified and like heart created, basically and essentially like a trade route or a time bank exchange hub route because where BJ will be staying. Okay, so let's just imagine whatever. This is Hilo. And then so Hilo is like the largest city on the east side, right? And then we've got BJ will be right here. And there's another time bank hub here, 10 minutes from you. One of our other time bank coordinators has Hawaii Vibration Farm. Really excited about our partnership with them. Oh, you don't know this yet, but Merlin just launched and built her Ancient Academy of Arts and Sciences. So they've got a huge, brand new covered area in the back that's 20 feet by 20 feet. Gorgeous, beautiful wood and everything. So I've been talking about the time bank there every single Wednesday. And I'm proud to say thank you to Millie Minea Merlin that actually about half of the vendors actually accept time credit as a currency.
Listen, St. Petersburg. Time credits. Time credits at the market. At the market. Time credits at the market.
Yeah,
that's
you can get
incredible.
Produce, you can get food, you can get, and we've also been doing, we're going to start a detox corner there where there's going to be different forms of detox that people can do. We've been doing, not too long ago, Tamara set up and led a recycle t-shirts thing where, all these different patterns for creating bags and whatever with like tons of stuff, tons of clothes from the Time Bank Exchange Hub market from the week before that, where everyone came and brought all their clothes and shoes that they were putting up for time credits. And so that will be 10 minutes north of you. And then about 10 minutes south of you is our Time Bank Exchange Hub on this property. So Chiaka and I were like, wow, we're actually starting to make the dots on the map.
Nice.
In case we have to go to bicycle times, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. Oh my goodness. Well, we are 45 minutes
What are you looking forward to most?
What am I looking forward to most? To be honest, I really think it's being in that tiny home that is totally off grid. That I'm going to be able to live in a place to be able to use this beautiful currency that was given to us by Edgar Kahn, who we call the father of time banking, and the everything that he fought for since the 60s, or even earlier, that he fought for us here in America, that I get to live by this. And I get to be in a tiny home that's totally off grid, and everything is fully sustainable. And I get to run around with 130 chickens, fresh
They've got
eggs.
cassavas and breadfruit and taro and
I'm so excited about learning how to cook the different things that I've never cooked before, and learning how to live off of the land. It's just, I'm a city girl, man. This don't happen to city girls, but it's happening to me. So, and being a part of this in like a totally different way, time banking, who would have thought? Who would have thought? I sat down at my kitchen table and said, I'm gonna make a time bank in St. Petersburg. We need to have one hyper local. From there goes this. It's just the seeds have been spread for a lot of years by a lot of people. And I get to be in that harvest, over in Hawaii. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it's really beautiful. Yeah, and you're such a big role model for me doing this across America and just kind of like really embodying this whole thing. Does anyone in the audience have questions you want to shoot us for the last couple minutes? Or
yeah, I didn't even think about that. So we have quite a few people watching, and I can see the Facebook comments on here. I don't know about YouTube comments. I'm like totally new doing this broadcast thing. This is a gift of time banking. Our new chair, because I stepped down as chair of the St. Pete Time Bank, and our new chair gifted us with an account to be able to do this with, so we can.
Wow, cool.
I know. So we can feature one of our members once a month. And so Lori Marino says, I have to learn how to hula.
Oh my gosh. I can't. If you're interested, I love my hula hula.
Yeah.
Can I just talk about my hula hula for a second?
Yes, of course. This is all about you, girl.
I got to show you guys.
Lori wanted to ask, do you own the property where all this is happening?
I will. So the property that we're on right now, where you saw all those videos, it's Hawaii State Agricultural Property. So it's really cool because in my heart, I've always kind of felt like owning a property, owning land. I'm not sure if that sits with me, but this property here is Department of Agriculture property that has like a 30-year lease that you earn the right to be able to steward this area. And but then I own like everything on top of that, if it makes sense. So in order to be the steward of this property officially, we have to be residents for 3 years in Hawaii, which is great because I'm really lucky. This property, there's a lot of people who are homesteading where it's like, BJ, the part of the road right before your place is it's well maintained, but it's gravel, right? But here, because it's a farm lot, all the roads are paved. There's like maintenance in front of our roads, and they kind of like the standard of how the state keeps this property is a little bit different than just like regular other properties. And so, so what's exciting is that when we purchased the property from Uncle Robert, who's the guy who did all of that here, he's actually going to be staying here as a resident kapuna because he is the one who leveled all this property. He put 200 truckloads of cinder to level this entire property and built all of this. It was all completely forested when he got a hold of it. And,
and how beautiful that he gets to be an elder on the land.
Yeah, he needs to be, right? Like he was like, it's a 2-year waiting list to find housing. And I feel like I am going to miss gardening and all of the things that keep us alive and connected, right? So in a year and a half, Lori.
In a year and a half. Yep. Yeah. So what else? We have about 10 minutes.
Oh, I have to talk about my halau.
Okay,
so
let's do it.
This is my halau. Can you imagine? This is activities from only 6 months.
Oh my. Tell people who don't know, what is a halau?
So our name is Halau Hula Kamakani Hali Ala Opuna. and that means the fragrant returning winds of Puna. And Halau is the name for like our group who have all become my sisters. And I am so blessed to have become a part of the Hula Halau, because a lot of the women in the Halau are now exchanging through the Timebank. The person that did my mosquito netting out there, she's in the Timebank. But I feel very blessed because when I first came to Hawaii, I really wanted to study hula, but something about it didn't feel right. Like I knew it was an indigenous dance that was really connected to spirituality. So in my heart, like going to study with a kumu that was going to teach us how to compete and then like go compete in a competition. And that's like a lot of what these halaus are like doing, which I understand, but for me, I was like, well, I'm just going to pray for the right teacher one day to come to me. And it took 21 years for Kumu Ehlani Stephanie to show up in my life. She studied under 14 kumus, so her knowledge of Hawaiian everything is so much. And our halau does not actually do any competition. We are strictly ceremonial dancers. So I have gotten to do ceremony all over the island with her, and it's a really spiritual thing. And so I think that when you come and if you decide to take part in hula, it's like joining a brotherhood and a sisterhood that it's beyond dancing. I'll never forget going down Waimea Valley in a 4x4 with my hula sisters and brothers, and then looking across while the hula men are like heaving these ohia logs that we had felled together as a family over the ford of the river while the women were carrying the babies and like erecting the new the new altar for Waimea Valley, and just getting to be a part of the whole community and the way of life here, which I think St. Pete has that beautiful way of life, but now the backdrop here is just a little different.
Just a little different. Super. Oh, my. So
I bet people can't wait for your broadcast from Hawaii, right?
I know. We'll keep it going. As long as we can get internet, we can do this. So we just have a few minutes left. What do you want to tell the people? There's hundreds of people watching. There's going to be thousands of people watching this. That's after it's, live broadcast. What do you want to say to them?
Through time banking, we can connect the world at an even more accelerated rate than we have been. And so I want to invite people to come to Hawaii and experience this. You can stay in our property in the back in a tent for time credits, right? And you can start experiencing this. So, like we are opening our hearts and saying, if we want to live in a better world, then we have to have the guts to embody it. So
we have to be that better world. We have to be that.
So come, because that's what I want this place to be, an embodiment of that. I want people to be able to say, I want to go make a difference in Hawaii and not have to worry about paying for a hotel while you're here.
Because the cost of living is very expensive there.
So expensive. Yeah, you're looking at like spending $150 to $200 for the cheapest hotel room,
Right. And that's something that we had to literally look at. It's like, can we afford to do this? Because Jim and I live off of Social Security, and it's not necessarily a dream that we thought would be a part of our lives. So again, back to Hawaii, kokuaexchange.timebanks.org. If you're over there, please join them, be a part of this magic that is happening in Hawaii over all the islands. But if you want to get one-on-one with Catalina, you're there in the Big Island in Hilo. No, you're not in Hilo. You're in...
I'm in Hawaii, just 30 miles south.
Just 30 miles south. Yeah. So I'm so grateful to have had you on this podcast. We still have a few more minutes. So I'm going to ask you if you could give a message to time bank coordinators who are doing this work, and it's hard, and we're trying to make it successful, and we're trying to find people to do jobs, and all of this we're doing for time credits, and sometimes it's arduous, to do the work, which I know that you've gone through with this vision that you've had and how many years of planning and doing each step. what would you give as motivation to them?
Take the pressure off.
How?
Take the pressure off and have faith in the movement. Because what I realized is that sense of urgency that I had been feeling, like, we need to do this now. That's a fire for my own activity, right? Like, and getting other people to join you and come into things, that comes when it really starts with you. And that's what happened here in Hawaii. I was like, I have so much going on, right? So I think this is just going to really have to grow super organically. And I just started with really rounding out my exchanges with people, right? Making sure that those 5 people that were in my safety bubble at that time were so excited about the reciprocity happening that they wanted to tell everyone else about it. And so boom, 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 boom. And we're only like 6-7 months. We've got like 120 members here on the Big Island. We've got 2 different exchange hubs going. We've got a community going. And that was all because I decided the more pressure I feel, the more it feels like work. So if I just let it grow from helping it help me and me helping others, and that naturally just coming out because it's just what's meant to be.
That's beautiful. And some of that I needed to hear. You know what I mean? I remember the late Dr. Marie Nelson from Tampa Bay Timebank that founded Tampa Bay Timebank used to always say, if it's not fun, it's not sustainable. And work, that pushing the river, that's not fun. That's not fun. And I hear a bird in your background.
I know the sun just came out. I'm like, I wonder if there's a rainbow.
Oh, it's funny. We were talking right before the broadcast and we both had rain. She said, it's raining, but I'm going to go take some pans of videos so everybody can see. And I'm like, it's raining here too. But now I hear a bird. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty here. Let me turn around. Look at.
Oh, here she goes. Here she goes. It's just like, oh, look at that. Look at that green lush. Yeah. Well, Catalina, what a blessing this has been. I can't say enough on how blessed I am that our paths crossed, when they did. And at that little table, I totally had forgotten about that, that little table at Awakening in the Sun, at that, who would have thunk it that it would have come all the way to here,
right? And I'm coming to live in Hawaii on Timebank credits. I am loving it.
That's like incredible. All right. Well, any last words you have to share?
I love you all. Thank you so much for everything that all of you are doing around the world with Timebank.
Everybody.
And helping to embody this way of being that we know should be. Thank you, BJ, for having me on here and helping to spread the message and for inspiring your incredible inspiration to me, right? Wow. Like this would not be happening had it not been for your mentorship. You're such a great mentor to me. So I really appreciate the time that you've spent in your life helping me grow.
Thank you. For those of you who are in Florida, if you want to find more about Timebanks in Florida, go to floridatimebanks.org. That's a website that the 3 Timebanks in our area have worked on together, which is Spring Hill, St. Petersburg, and Tampa. And then if you want to join us here locally, we have orientations monthly. I believe it's twice a month we have orientations. You need to fill out the join form at stpetimebank.org. So join us here. And again, one more time, for those of you that are in Hawaii, please go to kokuaexchange.timebanks.org and get yourself a profile going there and join them live. So for now, we're going to say aloha. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.